Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to review the movie that we just watched, which was called BADHAAI HO. Which I don't know what that means, but let us know in the comments.
Actually, let's look that up, maybe.
Guys, I know the comment section on the base video is going to be bumping, and you guys are the true fans that are watching this video, so let us know in the comments, and we'll read these comments. What actually happened in this movie? Let us know the cultural significance,
yes.
Because this movie, at least for me, was one of the biggest disconnects I've had in one of these movies for a while in terms of motivation, because you were supposed to feel a certain way about her getting pregnant, which I did not feel. I was like, oh, okay, she's pregnant.
Yeah, you were supposed to be able to somehow relate to the
shame
main guy,
right?
Who was ashamed,
and the cultural,
but it was like
pressure.
It seemed like he was just overreacting.
Yeah, and he got
to
over
us.
it. He got over it.
He did get over it.
But it's weird because this type of a movie is the kind of movie that takes a kind of like maybe a different way of thinking, and it pokes at that, right? Yep. Whereas we don't really have that type of thinking. At least I'm not aware of that in America, of that type of thinking of having a kid at an older age as an issue,
it was
or
just
having an extra kid.
I
don't know.
The entire premise of the movie is built on a cultural context or assumption that we were not familiar with. It's like, whoa, where's the tension and where's the
What's
we
the
didn't
point
feel
of it?
we couldn't track along with that. And we were wondering, like, is it like a moralistic, like, oh, they shouldn't be having kids or they shouldn't be having sex at that age, and like just like ages, like
and I was thinking it was more
confusing. It was a little confusing.
Well, the age thing, like, oh, she's too old, and everyone's gonna think it's weird
strange.
because she's so old having a baby.
Yeah, because that's kind of what they were talking about.
That's kind of what they're saying, but they never really like explained it.
Well, and I was going to say
that's why we were confused.
I get
they never really explained what the real issue was.
And I get it if it's overpopulation, because in India they have a billion people in India. Like in that particular country, it's.
But that doesn't even explain.
But they didn't mention it. So
you're right. They didn't.
I mean, it's not like it's normal for older folks to have kids, but it's definitely not out of the question.
Well, and at least where we're in our culture, like in Minnesota,
we know older people who've had kids,
and we're not like, oh my, they had sex.
Yeah, well, we know families that have 8 to 10 kids, and they're having kids into their
they still keep going
40s, 50s, so it's.
Oh yeah.
So
I know plenty of families. We know plenty. We both mutually know plenty of families that they have kids that are in their,
20s, and then they just
early
have
20s and in their 40s. I mean, there's 20-year age gaps for some of these people. They have 10 kids. 11
so
kids.
that was interesting because I think we all agree that this movie was the acting was solid and the characters are really good.
Yeah, especially the dad.
The drama really is hard to. Yeah, the dad. Was
I really liked his character.
Really good.
We were thrown off at the beginning because I thought he was just gonna be like this rich, uptight guy, but then he turned out to be such a nice dude.
Standout role, for sure.
He was great.
Unknown character. But really liked his acting. Very good, typecast, just a curmudgeon.
There were some really good actors, and we loved the new gal that we suddenly watched too.
Sonia.
Sonia is fantastic.
Sonia Malhotra.
She's great.
Very good. Yeah.
She
must be popping
films.
off. What is happening?
So many ads on IMDb now.
What's the deal?
What has she been? What's her
great.
Ludo, Dangal, and BADHAAI. Wow, we
got all top 3 out of the. Wow.
Literally, the last 3 movies have had her in it.
That's crazy.
That's funny. Wait, guys, how did that happen?
That's so weird.
She's
you
really
guys voted
great.
on it.
She has a very natural way of acting.
Yeah, I really like the way she does it. Yeah,
she's really good.
It's very, very cool. Yep.
But yeah, so it was interesting. It was an interesting watch because on one hand, it's the emotional. It's hard to connect to the emotions that are displayed on the screen because even though they're very earnestly acted
and
well, it's it's a little it's hard to connect to those.
And I also thought I had a disconnect when her mom, the whole thing with she broke up with him because her mom was not happy with how he reacted. It's like I didn't understand that part of it because I guess she definitely wanted her mom to be okay with him, like to approve the relationship. And it's like that's understandable, but then she just immediately broke up when he was drunk, first of all, and he didn't even say anything that crazy. He was just explaining that, like, why are you gossiping about my family?
Yeah.
And then she was super mad that he spoke out like that. And that might be a cultural thing too, where I mean you can't speak up or speak.
Yeah, and she was the voice of reason up to that point too, so it was a little confusing why she wouldn't support him.
I know.
Yeah, so that was weird. She suddenly changed in my eyes. She suddenly switched because like she was the modern one saying like, oh, the baby's fine, and then like. But then in other areas, she was kind of...
She went to old she
school.
went backward, where she was like, oh, you have to listen to my mother, and what she says is gospel.
Yeah, and then when the
Which
mom
is another
was...
disconnect
Immediately
with us,
when the mom was okay with it, she's like, okay, now we're back together.
Definitely
that was
a disconnect.
That was just a disconnect.
And then they all, like, midway through the movie, they all had a turning point to rational thought. And then
I'm
it's
glad...
like, well, that's awesome, but, like...
It was sweet. It was really sweet when they all
there's a lot of sweet moments.
Came around, like they all helped the mom out, and that was great. Yep.
So it's hard to like say, oh, was not good or like not a good movie because it was very genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
had
felt
some heartfelt moments.
It did. It did. It was heartfelt. It was a fun watch. It was just a big disconnect, and that's what I mean. Like I think in terms of the actual, it was a great movie. It's just the cultural disconnect. I think is the most poignant that
if we were in that world, like if we
would be completely aliens to this.
Like, right now we're that's what I'm saying. But if we were living in India and saw that happen every day, then I'm sure we would like this movie a lot more.
Right.
Like knowing the context. And you can see by the rating, it's pretty highly rated.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming, this connects more with
I'm
the
sure.
Indian audience than the U.S. audience.
Which is who it was made for.
Which,
which
is totally, that's great. Yep, we totally get that.
So, but it's just interesting. I just find it an interesting movie.
Yeah.
It was different. I felt the length on this one, even though it is 2 hours, because it was so like, oh, I think I know where this is going, and like we're kind of going through what's happening, and you kind of see what's. It was. It felt slow.
Traditional course, I mean, that's true, because there wasn't a lot of substance necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily, maybe that,
Well, I want to say, I don't know.
But
to us,
there
wasn't a lot
let me preface, there wasn't a lot of plot points.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
Yeah, it was fairly simple.
There wasn't many things that they couldn't add more.
Yeah, there were no hooks really.
It was just like there was a few plot points and that was it. So then they just kind of made it longer to make it work narratively. Yeah. So I think, which is that's fine.
But so I mean, what would you guys?
I'd probably give it. Or I'll let someone else. Out of 5, guys, we rate on Letterboxd.
I'll give it a 2.5.
Sure.
I
was gonna say 2.5 as well.
The disconnect. I thought the acting was good.
Out of 5.
2.5 out of 5. Yep. I thought the acting was good all around, but
do the same.
The story, it was hard to connect to.
Yep, and
that's just, not. I mean, it's just it's just our opinion.
Yeah.
We totally get your guys' view on this, and
and
let
you know
us
what,
know
guys,
in the comments
it's fine.
what you thought of this film.
And comment, because again, if you are watching this one, we're gonna read these comments.
So Ben, what would you rate it?
Yeah, I said that. Yep, I said the same. It's really there's some really there's some genuine.
Mike, what did
2.5? Yep.
Okay,
I was.
that was
a really good genuine moments, but it wasn't any like. Yeah, like I said, the acting is very good.
Yep.
But it wasn't. Yeah, it was just a strange when the main point of the movie you don't relate with or you don't understand the tension behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it very.
You said that at the very beginning too. You're like, this is the movie. Like you're like, oh, this is where they're going with this movie. Is like this point, which is so true because it's just a disconnect that we have with it. But they're building a whole movie off of it, so it's hard for us to really connect with the characters.
Yep.
But
yeah,
anyway,
that's our
so
review.
That's that.
Stay tuned for next week for our Halloween special. It's coming
we want
out.
to say what
we're
gonna watch?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be out. We'll post about it. I'm
all
sure,
right.
so
all
you'll see on our YouTube page.
Click the link,
But
subscribe it all,
yes,
and
Sauby,
we'll see you next time.
love it up.